Hold on, Ocho.
Welcome to another episode of The Bird's Eye View. I am your host, JB. These are my good friends, Quay and Rick. We are here to finally discuss the long-awaited 2025 NFL schedule release. And of course, we're going to give some good emphasis on how our Atlanta Falcons are going to take on this season. So, Rick, as the man that always introduces these topics to us, tell us how you're feeling about the schedule and what your takes are from here.
So, feeling about the schedule, I feel like our very beginning of the schedule is more of a gauntlet, I'll say. Like weeks 1, thank goodness our bye is at 5. Week 1 through 7 is pretty tough. We start off with 2 division games kind of off the rip in our first 3. Then we open week 2 with a primetime game against the Vikings. Now, that one is kind of like here or there to me because we don't know what J.J. McCarthy will be. You know, Kevin O'Connell, he's a great head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback whisperer, however you want to call it. But he still has to work off some rust. He's coming off an injury. It's essentially his rookie year still, like fresh start. So that's some kind of stuff that they're kind of working through. But it's really kind of going to be like a battle of the minds between Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores, Raheem Morris, Jeff Ulbrich, kind of stuff like that. Then we go into playing like the Bills and the 49ers also as like some very high matchups in those early weeks as well. But we do get that week 5 bye before we do play the Bills and the 49ers back-to-back games. Quay, how do you feel about our division?
We're the best in the division. What do you mean? It's 2 teams in that division.
Where are they?
2.5. One is in Atlanta. The other's in somewhere located in Florida. The other team, it's non-existent. And the team that wants to be on a rock was so bad. They'll be improved.
Yeah, that team, you know, we don't have to give them the burden of announcing their name, but I feel like
having the Super Bowl was their last accomplishment.
Agreed. But also, you kind of seen a little fire from their fans after that game they had last year against us, and I'm just really wanting to knock them down a couple pegs. So that's going to be interesting. Overall, Quay, when it comes to the division, obviously you need the division first to get to the playoffs. We all have aspirations to make the playoffs this year, but where do you see us finishing in the division, and where do you see the most exciting matchup is between those 6 games?
I think to start it off in versus Tampa, that's going to be crazy. I think a division game to start the season is always intense, but the fact that they've won the division 4 years in a row, that's going to be big for us. And then Michael Penix is from Tampa. He's from the area, so that's like a home game for him, even though it'll be here. So, you know, he'll be his family will be here. Mm-hmm. He didn't have the chance to play him last year. So this will be his first time playing Tampa Bay. And I think everybody will be excited. I think with the new additions on defense, it's going to be crazy. I think the city's going to be on fire. And I think you'll see a bunch of 9s everywhere. You'll probably see a bunch of 11s, a bunch of 5 jerseys. But I think the city's going to be crazy. I'm going to be there. You know, I'm going to be there, so I'm ready.
So you said we're going to see a lot of 9 jerseys, a lot of 5 jerseys.
I just say 8. Yeah, I would say 8.
Okay, well, why are we saying 8? If we went to say his name.
Because we got to wait till week 8.
No. You gotta like. No. So you know, jerseys is not just something you see. Jerseys have to be strategic.
Uh-huh.
So my jerseys are strategic. I got every jersey mapped out. I'm wearing Jalen Walker's game, Penix game, but you gotta open the season with Penix because all this it don't matter if he ain't right. It don't matter what we do. Yeah. If 9 ain't good, it's gonna be a long year.
He's the engine that he's trained on.
Yeah,
I feel it. I feel it. So, your exciting matchup, you say, is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game because that's Michael Penix's first game, week 1.
Do you think that game, week 1, because it is week 1 and it's start off the season division game, or do you think at Tampa because that could maybe like be like the division
I think-
clincher.
Yeah, no. So realistically, I think we're gonna split some division games.
Mm-hmm.
I think starting off there, it'll be a little curious because the thing about it, Penix probably won't play preseason. We know Rod does that. So how much rust is there? I'm curious to see if the rookies play preseason, but that'll be interesting.
First round guy.
Jalen's not there.
Yeah, so
Jalen's
so I think that could be go anyway, depending on the sluggish start. But I think the fact that this is not the first year in Zach Robinson's system, that should be an added advantage. Tampa Bay will have a new offensive coordinator
for the third year in a row.
Yeah, so they'll have to warm up. So it'll be good, man. I'm curious to see how we respond, and so I think it'll be a good matchup for sure.
Okay, so Tampa Bay we know is going to be a good matchup. We always go down to the wire with them for the most part. Obviously, we have the number one rivals.
That's a sweep this year.
It's a sweep this year. I do agree with that as well. But however, even with supposed sweep, they still are a team that gives us problems. We can never beat them by more than 2 scores. How do you see those games going between them, even with the retirement of Derek Carr, even with losing a couple of the defensive pieces? And, they're also right now in a rebuild while they haven't probably claimed it.
I'll say this. The only thing that would probably be a concern is if they're able to run the ball. I don't really see any other area where I'm like, oh, they're just. But they could possibly. I don't know how I run defense to start. So I am curious about that. We improved the pass rush, but no one's really been talking about the run defense. So, and then he's coming from that Philly offense. Mm-hmm. They drafted a tackle, so I know they're going to emphasize running the ball this year. So that would be the only thing I'm worried about. But
especially since quarterback is like a super.
Yeah, so they're going to run. They're going to try to run the ball dirty, like control the game, but aging defense, wide receivers all off injury. They don't have a quarterback, so I'm not really.
I really do believe that their focal point this year, which has been for the most part, is Alvin Kamara. But now to the point where outside of him, who do we look at as an impact role? I mean, Chris Olave, we hope he plays, he's healthy. But the concussions are a big issue. Then who's their next guy? Shaheed? Is he still on the team?
I feel like that next guy is
kind of.
Yeah, I feel like that next guy is kind of like a question mark to them too. I feel like it's kind of because they don't have Taysom Hill anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's a big loss.
They have Juwan Johnson, but I mean, you want to talk about a tight end that kind of hasn't done anything. They paid him. I mean, like he said, every game should be kind of like a 2-touchdown difference.
So all this thinking seems just to me that they're not even worth thinking about because we can't even really figure. So we'll see. But
I will say this though, I don't like that we played them on the last game of the season, right?
I like it. I like it.
I don't like that.
I like it for the fact
we played them at. We played them at or home.
We played them at New Orleans to start the year, and then we finished the season
home.
I thought it was the last one. It was away.
We played them on the 23rd, so around Thanksgiving.
I thought the last one was there.
No, the last one's gonna be home. Red is gonna be home.
Oh.
So, and that's a good segue into talking about how our opponents are, because obviously while it's only 9 years technically, this is 10 years removed from the 10 seasons removed from the Super Bowl year, and it had a lot of history repeating itself for the aspect of starting off with Tampa Bay, ending the season with New Orleans. You still have some
New Orleans twice because that's what we did. We beat them.
We swept them that year then too. So we'll do it again this year. I do agree with the split matchups of the division. I do believe we're going to split against Tampa Bay. And even though I hate to say it, we're going to split against the Carolina Panthers.
So as well.
Just because there's going to be that one trap game where we just don't come to play.
I think playing them early is going to be a trap game.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I don't think we're going to split with it. I'll take that back.
You don't think we're going to split with Tampa? South Carolina?
They didn't really do nothing exciting on defense. If those two edges don't work out, then they pick up. I'll say this. Thank you for passing on.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for giving us the key to the street.
Thank you for thinking about your quarterback first.
Right.
Because now we're thinking about your quarterback.
The argument came out is they didn't think it would be smart to take a 6'1" edge rusher. Thank you. And now you get to see him 2 times.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see when 6'1" becomes 61 sacks in 4 years. Hey, we go, God willing anyway. But I wanna talk about outside of the division. We broke it down. You believe it's gonna be what, a 5-1 record, 4-2?
4-2, 5-1.
Okay, so 4-2-5-1. Either way, we starting off with some winning at least. Then we got this NFC conference that, as in recent years, has been on the come up. We have a couple of key matchups. Majority of our primetime games are against NFC opponents, primarily teams that have made it deep in the playoffs in recent years, such as the San Francisco 49ers. You also have the LA Rams that are, coming off a playoff appearance, didn't get to go all the way through. What, to you, Rick, if you had to put it on the key games to win in order to guarantee you a playoff spot, not count the division, who would you put on that pedestal?
Just like in general or in the primetime games?
Just in general for 3 NFC opponents that you see.
I think that to start off, not in any particular order, but I think a very prominent game that kind of just has more meaning than just a playoff spot would be the Rams game at the very end of the season, because we gave them our first round pick next year.
Agreed.
So if it comes down to a tiebreaker to get into a higher playoff spot, I think that's what it also could come down to. But I think they're also playing with the mindset of, we have their pick, we got to beat them. Type thing like that. And then also our coaching staff came from that tree, type thing like that. So it's a whole bunch of connection that game has a whole bunch of implications for it.
And think too, the last time we played the Rams, that was that Mariota year where we went there and they got that lead, and then we were just on the cusp of coming back. But think about it, Raw was on that staff that year. So it's a lot of, familial bonds in that one game, which can cause a lot of emotion. You got Raw that played or coached alongside McVay for 3 years, to the extent where, hey, this offense hasn't changed a bit. I know how to properly prepare for it, but now it's going to be a matter of, can our defense actually make the stops? And we cannot discredit or disrespect Matt Stafford and what he can do for that team.
I would think it's just depending on rankings and your starters, I think it's just to see where you're at. In my opinion, at the end of the season, the Rams were the best team in the NFC. That's just my opinion. And they were 1 possession away from beating the Eagles.
And they got healthy at the end of the year too.
I think they were the best team in the NFC, personally.
But I will say that I'm not going to say, I guess I could say that Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams, getting Devontae Adams was kind of more of an upgrade.
It was.
But it was more he's going to be out there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Puka being out there is one thing, but giving Matthew Stafford more weapons is going to maximize Matthew Stafford.
Agreed.
So then once you because Cooper Kupp, you kind of had to be all right, I don't know what his limitations might be this week. I don't know if he's going to be here this week, kind of things like that. Devontae Adams has always been Devontae Adams. I feel like he's just not
Iron Man.
He's not, his game isn't changing wherever he goes. So I think that him being a part of, I guess, I can't even say he's wide receiver 2. I'll say it's 1A, 1B kind of situation on who they play, type thing like that. It's kind of you stopped that guy last week, okay, try to stop this guy this week kind of thing with the Rams. So,
but don't forget they make key additions on defense too.
Yeah, they make key additions on
They got Nathan Lamon and Jimmy Lake.
But I will say this year, when you look at the schedule, man, there's a lot of wide receiver duos that we're going against this year. Let's talk about Tampa Bay. They have a nice little quartet of receivers between Jalen McMillan, Amiga, Mike, and Chris Godwin. Hopefully, Chris Godwin is back to his former self.
He'll be healthy for
He should be healthy by week 1. Then you get the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, the Carolina Panthers, Xavier Leggett, and Ted. If the potential of what their ceiling is, not right now, but over time. Then what's the next opponent? Then you got the Dolphins. If Tua can somehow stay healthy, you got to deal with the threat of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. We are at home.
Oh, I'm not worried about that.
We are okay, but let's think about the speed factor of Tyreek Hill, because more than likely AJ is going to be shouting him the whole game.
Think about the speed factor of Jalen Walker on the edge and Tua in the
Let's see if they
shell.
don't.
Think about that factor.
Let's think about the lineman protecting Tua enough so he can.
Oh, they won't. Never do.
Oh, I got a bet on that game. Somebody already bet me.
You talking about? Hey,
Shout out Rob McSwain.
No, you want to see the bet?
Didn't
Let's look at it.
Teron Armstead retire too?
He did retire.
Yes,
So we got a lot of pieces. Honestly, I want to discuss my 5 takeaways. Wow, Ryan, hey, make the money.
Yeah.
You want to show this? You want to show the people?
He betted me that Kyle Pitts are going to go with under 25 yards. Come on, why people?
25 yards what?
He said Kyle Pitts won't get 25 yards.
In a game?
In the Miami
Against the
game?
Dolphins.
Against the Dolphins.
I'll make a bold prediction.
don't like it.
I'll make a bold prediction right now. We'll follow back up on this video that Kyle Pitts will have 100 yards against Miami.
How many he had last time?
That
on the last
that
time
was
he played?
that was tough.
How many yards was that?
That was when he was drilling Xavier Howard.
We're going to see how this season plays out. I feel like, obviously, again, we have to win the NFC, or at least
NFC
primarily NFC South for sure, but we have to dominate the NFC to really help our chance of getting the playoffs, because we can see where we do great in our division, but if we do not get those other games, that 11-6 could go only so far. That can be a difference in it being a 5 seed and a 7 seed, for example, if we don't take care of business. So I feel the key games that are going to have our eyes on the most: Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Seattle Seahawks, the LA Rams, and the San Francisco 49ers. I feel like at any point you're playing old coaches, anytime you're playing, players that you match up with evenly, I do feel like our offense can keep up with a lot of other offenses in this league this year. And we're going to be in a lot of situations where we're going tit for tat and scoring. And it's going to be a matter of our defense making those plays finally, so we can see if we're either going to be, for example, 3-2 in those 5 games or 2-3 in those 5 games. But the difference in those games is going to be really determined on how we end at the end of the year. So right now, if I had to put a ceiling on our record, I would say we can get 11-6. But depending on how we go in those 5 games, it could be more.
Wait, do we play Arizona?
We do play Arizona when they're on the road.
Arizona's gonna be good this year.
They are, and
They're gonna Marvin Harrison in year 2. I'm interested to see. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm not gonna play Arizona. Yeah, they're gonna be good. I'm not. I would take Seattle out and swap them Arizona.
Okay.
I'm not really worried about Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks.
It's not their offense I'm worried about.
I would be
It's their
more.
defense.
I would be more worried about Jalen Milroe.
Why would you? Okay,
I
why?
would be more concerned about him.
I have no.
I think Sam Darnold without Kevin O'Connell is back to earth.
I think.
Without Jalen Milroe.
So I think so they have Kubiak there from the Saints, and now I'm not saying he's a Kevin O'Connell, but he's not a bad OC to have
He likes to
with
run
the
the
guy
ball.
Sam Darnold.
He's gonna be focused on the run ball.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't with Sam Darnold.
Mind you, they don't have Metcalf anymore, guys.
I mean, they got
understand
Cooper Kupp and
You just said he
Jackson
was
Smith.
barely available.
He hasn't stayed healthy.
But I mean, still a half of Cooper Kupp is going to get you 100.
got Jackson
All you
Smith.
gotta hope that half is against us.
But you got Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got Noah Fant. They still have people they can get the ball to vertically.
That's so scary.
And then you got what's his Greg, please help me with the running back from
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet.
The last 2 years.
They did get that running back from Miami too, Martinez. He's can't count.
So I mean, it's potential there. I feel like the Seahawks is going to be
Falcons
that.
by 30.
Okay. I feel like the Seahawks is going to be that game that's really the interchangeable one. However, I do like your take on the Cardinals just because Gannon is in his 3rd system. They had a great draft. Walter Nolan, Will Johnson. They got some.
They went in there with, he said, best player available.
And then the offense, with Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride coming to form.
Now I'm
James
not sure
Conner still a reliable running
I'm
back.
not sure about the Cardinals O-line. I think that might have some good holes in there, but everything else around that is pretty nice.
Probably weren't first.
Well, let's say this then. It's fair to say that the NFC West is the conference that we feel might give us the most. Even though we obviously played 4 teams, but I'm saying that as far as the record, the strength of schedule goes, those are the teams that we can look at that and those are the ones you gotta win. Not the division, those 4.
Yeah, but I feel like that's more so I feel like you could say like with the Rams, you can kind of say like I feel like right now, if you were to just look at all those 4 teams like on paper, like the Rams are kind of like at the top tier of if you're looking at them on paper. But it's also like the way that their division has gone, you just don't know how shit can go.
San Fran will be back.
Yeah,
They'll be back.
San Fran will be back, but it's just like how far back will they be? Like they lost Greg Greenlaw and everybody like that.
I think that San Fran game is going to be a defensive game. I think we're going to, offensively, the ceiling is probably going to be 24, 28 points, but it's really going to be defense and stuff.
Probably I can see the.
But however,
maybe 17.
Sunday Night Football, if he's healthy, that Bijan versus Christian McCaffrey show is going to be lights out.
I don't think so. Bijan by 30.
Bijan about 30. You know what? I respect it. So, all in all, man, I feel like we have despite the strength of it, I'm not afraid of the schedule. I feel like there's a lot of optimism. And each game can go either way. You know how football goes. But hopefully, this is that first season where we finally get over the hump. So, now that you've seen the schedule in this order, I've already stated my record is 11-6. Where do you think you all feel will end up at? And in addition to the schedule, where's the ceiling from a playoff perspective?
I feel as far as I feel like a safe spot for us is 10 wins. Like a 10.5 over and under, you can kind of pick. Yep. I think we're still going to make the playoffs kind of either way. I like how in our schedule, like week 9 through 12 is like gravy. Like I feel like that's a good spot to take advantage of if we fully lock in and just tear these teams apart, like the Patriots, the Colts, those kind of teams that are kind of figure out who they are. If we take those teams apart, then it's going to be 11 wins. If we drop one, then drop one. But I don't think that defeats us from making the playoffs this year. It's a lot more teams in the NFC that just are figuring themselves out more so. So I still think that but I do think that we'll tie for the division, and I can't tell you exactly which way it'll go because I feel like us and the Bucks are at the top fighting with each other. But I'm gonna go for my Falcons at the top.
I already got I got a week 1 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unfortunately, just because they don't win the season openers. But I'm hoping they prove me wrong. I believe you. I believe in it. If I had to put it on paper right now, for prediction, I'm gonna stick with L. That's okay, because they don't gotta. As soon as the loss is over, it's okay. That's out the way.
That's not how you start. It's about how you finish.
It is about how you finish.
We close out.
And I feel like the beauty of this schedule is that early bye. Some people hate the early bye, but I don't like the fact of once we get through it, now we just start rolling. And then when you have certain matchups in the lineup that they are, that's when I feel we can go ahead and make our run and have those 4 or 5 game streaks. So it's a lot more optimism than pessimism. I want to say last year, even with the easier schedule, you said, what can we do?
It was easy until the Broncos and Chargers showed their
Yeah, but this year I feel like even with the middle of the pack, I feel like, hey, I don't fear anybody. A lot of these teams are going through some transitions too. So, end of the day, it's all about what happens when the clock hits 0, and hopefully we're on top. So now we've gotten the conversation of the schedule out the way. Obviously, we can talk about how the team has prepared itself. And recently, we just saw the team got through those early rookie mini camps. So, Quay, what was your take from just the rookies, whereas performance, and also some of their conversational pieces from those interviews?
I think just excitement. I just think the biggest takeaway is when Ross said they'll be intentional about playing rookies. I've been banging for a youth movement on defense.
Thank you, Jesus.
Forever. I just think if we roll out there with Jalen Walker, James Pierce, I'm hoping Billy Bowman wins the nickel job. I was watching Kobe Bryant again today, and I just don't see Mike Hughes better than him. I think it'll come down learning to play well. I feel like he's like the sleeper. If he turns out to be a solid cornerback too, we are cooking. Xavier Watts, he's big. I was like, this dude he's huge.
He's solid too.
Yeah, and
he cut. I feel like there's a stigma, like the dudes that be having the dreads, when they cut them off, they turn into a whole different person.
Earl Thomas.
Right? I think it's like one of those. Like I think he's ready to headhunt.
I just think it's gonna be good. I think this is gonna be a good rookie class. I think this is probably good.
And you know what? I feel like from last season, I feel like the when we had Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates, I feel like they were kind of more of the same player, and so it kind of took away from Jesse's game, and kind of watching Justin like come up and stop runs was kind of hard sometimes to watch.
That's because Jimmy had Jesse as a cleanup man.
But I just think that Xavier Watts is like that thump that we need in that back, you know, in the safety.
I actually think Xavier Watts allows them to get creative with Jesse.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like he just had to like cover like everyone's mistakes last year, and I don't think he can wrong.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna be a lot. I think Jeff is gonna be really
like him in that sole safety spot, like deepest person back. Like I feel like if you just be like Jesse, just all this is yours. Like I feel like that's the worst thing that you could tell, or like the best thing that you could tell him, but the worst thing for our offensive team to like because there's no deep balls allowed. Like I feel like that's what it really needs.
I'm excited about Billy Bowman.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, I was not comparing him.
Good, bro.
Compared him to the Jets, you know, my former team, Mike Carter. But I want to say, like, when you look at the 3-4 set that Jeff Gilbert wants to tote for the most part, Rick and I were discussing our dime packages. I honestly see where there's going to be a lot of times we have more DBs out there than linebackers just because of how the league's gotten, but also because Raw drafted hybrid people. Like, these aren't just people that are playing in space. We can put any one of them in the box. And they can
play, and I'll say this too, we drafted players that are coached with guys with a strong defensive mindset.
And they're all C-ball, D-ball.
Like the Tennessee D coordinator is now the Penn State D coordinator. They don't just take anybody. Obviously Georgia defense, Kirby Smart. You know, that's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is notoriously known for defense.
Mm-hmm.
Not offense, maybe tight ends. But you know, other than that, and then Brent Venables at Oklahoma, like anybody from that defense, like eventually will get burned. Look at Nick Benito.
Yeah,
he's a fucking stud.
I really believe that we did our homework this year. Like, this is the first time that for me watching film in the aspect of who I wanted to draft, and actually not only us getting the guys that I was wanting, but also the fact of seeing the potential of not where they're going to be as rookies, but where they can be 5 to 7 years from now. I really hope that Atlanta does approach that, you know, Philly, Pittsburgh mindset where you're keeping your defensive guys for 7+ years on to keep giving yourself the best shot at that championship. And when you have people like Billy Bowman and Xavier Watts, not only can they be a complimentary piece to the starters now, they can potentially be made the future for how the backfield is going to be made on the defensive side. So, as far as that goes with this rookie class, who do you believe has the most promise from the defensive side? Whether it's even an undrafted rookie or even those 4 of those 5. Who would you say is going to be Mr. Falcon when it's all said and done?
James Pierce.
James Pierce Jr.? Why do you think James Pierce is going to be the one that is eventually the face of the franchise?
I'm not going to say he's the face, but I'll say he's going to be like the cornerstone for the defense. He's the, like, I feel like he has the potential to give us 7 sacks this year. I think that first step is elite. I think he's more groomed as an edger at this point. Mm-hmm. I'll say he might make a quicker impact than Walker. But I think once it's all said and done, Walker's going to turn into a guy that's like the captain of the defense. But I feel like I just get the vibe from James Pierce. I just want to play football. I don't want to do no interview. I don't want to take it. I just want to play football, go on. But I think, like, you know, even Lewis Ryder said, outside of Abdul Carter, he has the potential to be the best edge in this class. And I truly believe that. You don't just go from being a projected top 5 pick, and then that talent just doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
Like I said, and like we were talking earlier, it's not like he had like a super drop off. He went from 9.5 sacks to 7.5 sacks.
He's playing best of the best.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into account. So with that being said, Rick, who do you believe out of those four, like I said again, either 4 defensive players that we drafted or even those undrafted guys, who do you believe is going to be that impact guy?
You know, I've been banging on the table for Xavier Watts for a long time, like for a while now.
Yeah.
And I really believe that Xavier Watts is going to be like a real game changer for us. Like I think his involvement in our defense is going to mess everything up, and I mean that in a good way. Like I feel like it's going to make everything more complicated for an offensive person to kind of like figure out. Like, so yeah, I think it's going to be Xavier Watts. I feel like he's going to mess up a lot of things, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. Like not our offense, but other offenses are going to have to like plan differently. Like he's a ball hawk. He can come up and hit you. He's a master of the zone, and his ball instincts is first round caliber, but it's really just like his first step isn't like Malachi Stark's first step, and he doesn't have like Nick's athleticism or whatever.
But like if he would have tested better, if
he would have tested better, he probably would have gone with those guys or probably above those guys.
Second round,
exactly. Yeah, but people were projecting him second, but they didn't. But he fell to us in the third. Like that's the best thing that could have happened for us.
We traded up and we would have got him.
We traded up. We had to.
Yeah.
I feel like I do agree that Xavier outside. Personally, I think Jalen Walker is going to be that guy. Which of course you expect that to draft at 15. But if you take him away, I think Xavier Watts would be the next man up. And I do feel that, like Ross said, him and Jalen have those captain and Tan will listen to them. And when you hear how they speak just to the media, you can tell they're both very vocal individuals. You can tell this is not their first rodeo. And honestly, you wouldn't really be able to tell that they were rookies based on how they carry themselves.
Yep.
So just off of that maturity alone, I do believe that those two, but mainly Xavier, that could be, let's think about it this way. We saw Keanu Neal. Keanu Neal was mainly, while he was a strong safety, he was mainly like a more so an outside linebacker. He was
boxing.
He wasn't the best in coverage. He was okay when he was healthy, but he was really in the box. That was his lane. I feel like with Xavier Watts, you get an upgraded Keanu Neal because he also can come in the box. He can hit. He's a ball hawk. And you know, his number one gripe is he has great hands. Like typically when you see him get near a ball, he's catching it. He's not deflecting it. So I feel like with having that addition with him and Jesse, and not only them just being ball hawks, but also for the fact of they're not traditional. They don't stay at one position.
But then I'm gonna also say this. I think that us getting Xavier Watts is the best thing for Jesse Bates, and it's the best thing for Xavier Watts.
But does it extend Jesse Bates' timeline with the Falcons, or?
I mean, Jesse Bates' timeline is Jesse Bates' timeline. Like I feel like without Xavier Watts,
but we want Jesse Bates to be a lifetime Falcon now. Like
yeah, I know, but I'm saying like it would have. Like Jesse Bates is good enough by himself that nobody would have impacted.
How many more years does Jesse have on the deal? He's on a 4-year deal.
He's on a 4-year deal. This will be his third season,
yeah,
and he should. I pray he gets an extension.
It'll only be 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, it'll probably be like 2 years. But still,
it won't be forever.
Yeah, I mean, and then if Xavier Watts is good, we're not going to get both of them.
Yeah, right. You got to think about it. If you go that 2-year route, that puts you right. Because Penix is what we think he is. That puts him in that extension range from that year. So that's what eventually the Falcons, if it pays out. The only thing about taking 2 first rounders in the same year, you're gonna have to pay them in the same year.
Yeah, but
so eventually, if everybody pans out, you got to pay Drake next off. So eventually, we're gonna have to make some decisions. So,
but we got like 5 years for that. Yeah. If take that 5th year.
I mean, let's think. Drake's 5th year option is coming up, so you have to pay him next. Then
next offseason.
Actually, it's him and Pitts next. If we keep Pitts, then Bijan after that. Bijan's probably paid before his timeline is up.
It'll be Caden Ellis. If we
they're not gonna pay.
They're not gonna keep Caden Ellis.
They're not gonna keep Caden.
And then you have Penix, and they're probably gonna try to get Penix's deal done after 3 seasons. Because if he plays well these next 2 years.
No, they're not.
We're riding that rookie contract.
I would hope so. But we've seen it where this kid is freaking legit. Well, let's say Penix.
I feel like
if Terry does it, hasn't did that. He's always waited to the off season, like of their 5th year deal. So.
Yeah, I feel like with Penix, he's a team success guy. Like I feel like with him, he'll be more like, yeah, get me my weapons secured. And then
see that Tom Brady guy taking pay cuts.
I don't know about a pay cut. I don't know about a pay cut. But I'm saying like
Jared
get them,
money.
get them paid first, and then come pay me. Because what am I gonna be if I'm out here with Russell Gage and the guys? Give me my guys that that's gonna make me exuberantly better than just keep me as like a.
I'm more curious to see what they do with Tyler last year.
I wish Tyler Algier is so good. I mean, I know we're not going to keep him because he deserves to play.
No, it's going to come down to him. I feel like they'll give him a contract, but if he's like, nah, I'm going to start.
That's what I'm saying. He could be starting somewhere.
But
I feel like by that
he
time,
can still get a David Montgomery.
Yeah, I think he'll just end up staying.
Yeah.
Because I don't think just like how we talked about.
I'll tell you why.
Just like how I talked to you about the cornerback, Hodge. When I told you said Hodge is gonna take a better deal. No, he's gonna stay home where everybody at.
But
I
you
feel like
gotta
it's gonna be
think
the
about
same
it.
thing with Tyler.
They might not run it back with Tyler, and I'll say this: I think the pass attempts is gonna go up this year. So I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be 60-40 run. I think it might be like 55-45 this year.
I think it's
they gonna let it go with Penix, bro.
But I think it's gonna be more like in terms of keeping Algier. Like I don't think he's gonna leave to probably take another RB2 job somewhere.
But you know what's funny though? They did drop Jason. So that was raw. That was raw.
But I don't know.
But that was,
like
a 7th-round pick.
Yeah,
somebody got to get paid.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
They took Casey Washington in 7th round. I think they really like him.
That's different.
We found stuff in
you can
later
really
rounds.
like
Receiver depth and RB depth are two different things.
I mean, like if he
It's
stays,
easier to find a running back. What do you mean?
if he stays for like a $6 million,
They found what's his name from Kansas City in the 7th. Pacheco. And like it's hard.
No, I'm not saying it's hard, but I'm just saying like our main thing is like when it comes to like the Chief and all that, they're trying to find like a back to kind of like be their back.
Kansas City. Kyle.
We have
Shanahan found
so
the running
it's
back
kinda
every
like-
year.
So, in
That's
short,
Shanahan loves low budget. Like
so it seems like, obviously, depending on other teams' contracts, it's possible we're going to have teammates that might take some team-friendly deals just to keep the core together. So, if we had teammates taking...
No pay for nobody.
you Tyler Algier.
And that's why college But if we see these teams or our team pretend to take a team-friendly deals, how do we feel now about Terry's position on this quote-unquote hot seat that he was in prior to the draft? Do we think that he's bought himself some time, or he's got to wait till the season?
I don't think that his seat is necessarily as hot. His seat's still hot. Like it's like if there's he was at 10, he's probably about at 8.5. He's somewhere right there because we've been complaining for defense. You've been giving us offense the last couple of years. Cool, that's fine. But the fact that you took chances, you double dipped, you got us some edges, that's admirable. But his 8.5 on the skillet is still hot, JP.
It's like JD, it's good, but it's not enough.
Yeah. So it's like, if we probably, I'm just gonna knock on wood. If just something happens, just to that's just worst case scenario, he's out of there.
Okay.
He's out.
So basically we need to wait till the end of the season.
He hasn't
made
the playoffs for him to be safe.
He hasn't made the playoffs. And like I said, my prediction is 11-6. I think we didn't get you all's record and ceiling.
Oh yeah.
We got a transition. So now I'll bring that question back, Quay. When you look at the record or the season and how the schedule works, where do you see our ceiling as, and where do you see, as far how far in the playoffs we can get to?
I'm taking a different approach this year. I'm so locked in on what we're doing right now.
Okay.
It's a 1 week approach.
Respect.
Every week I'm gonna put my helmet up, strap my chin strap, and we're just gonna take it 1 week at a time. So no prediction this year.
I can respect
We
that.
did that the last couple years. Shit didn't go so well. So you know, Pennis got me trying everything. You know what I'm saying? 1 week at a time. I got a prediction every week, but I won't have a season prediction.
That's fair. You gotta keep yourself as less stressed as possible. As I mentioned, 11-6, but I do believe you have potential to go higher. Rick, what about you, my friend?
I mean, I want to say that we'll have the potential to be X, Y, and Z, but until we can get past 8 wins, I'm keeping it at 8 wins.
At 8 wins?
That's actually fucking insane.
That's crazy.
Until we get past
it. Boo this
yeah, I told him not to. I told him to get that hate out your heart.
It's not hate. It's not hate. It's 8.
It's not hate.
It's not hate. It's 8. It's not hate. It's 8.
Well, I think.
Me and Kyle Pitts against the world.
I hope that Kyle Pitts proves wrong. I'm still gonna put that vote.
He ain't gonna never. He don't have to prove me wrong.
Look,
he gotta prove me right.
Kyle Pitts on paper actually has commendable stats. However, it's Kyle Pitts and I expect more from him. So we're gonna see what he does this year. It looks like that. It looks like Michael. I mean, for a tight end, bro, he had like 600 yards. That's fair for a tight end. 10 years ago, we were like complaining about this.
I'm moving past 600 yards.
Boy, stop that
I'm
shit.
just saying.
What is on?
I'm just saying.
Why are you being a hater, bro?
How is it a hater? What's he done?
Get your mans.
I mean,
What has he done? You tell me something. If you tell me something he's done, I'll be like, okay.
Caught that pass behind the back that one time.
Okay. That one time.
He ain't did nothing. He ain't did nothing worthy of trying to brag about him yet. I saw that rookie year.
Okay. That's
I still have optimism.
Let me give y'all a couple names. Couple names, just a couple names. Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota.
Oh God, we don't have to do
Taylor Heineke,
Okay.
Desmond Ritter,
Okay.
Kurt forgot how to play football. He has had he has literally played, after Matt Ryan, he played with 2 quarterbacks every year.
I hear you. You're not wrong.
So
and that's why I'm being optimistic about
here's my
it.
rebuttal.
No.
Rick the one being a hater.
No. This is my rebuttal. Is me having a disagreement automatically make me hate?
Hey, Kyle.
If
I'm on his. I'm just.
Exactly. Right. So I'm gonna tell you some names, right? Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell.
Now tell me how many targets you got.
Who?
I know you're talking about Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
tell me his targets. No,
He
look
had-
about tell
he
me.
had
No.
over- he had
tell
over
me
160
exactly.
targets.
Now go look up Kyle Pitts targets.
From when?
Last year,
From last year?
but John had more targets than him.
I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Exactly. No,
Pitts was picked
contacts
fourth.
matter.
Pitts was picked
Contacts
fourth.
matter.
That matters.
Contacts matter.
When was Brock Bowers picked?
When Brock Bowers, who
Ninth.
name the other option on the team?
He was nice.
Jacoby Myers. Yeah,
Okay.
He wasn't
Okay.
packed. Yeah.
When Kyle Pitts was the first option, like his first year, like Brock, what happened?
Yeah. When Kyle Pitts was the first option.
He
got 1,000 yards.
Exactly. Context matters.
He had 1,300.
I'm telling you, y'all love the Brock
That's the
Bowers
thing.
conversation, and then you tell me he had 118 targets. I would hope he had 1,000 yards with 118 targets. I would hope.
But Kyle Pitts was also number 1 option. Didn't have that with Matt Ryan.
He had 1,000 yards. You just said it.
1,300.
He did not have 118 targets his rookie year.
1,300.
How many targets did he have his rookie year? Let's look it up.
Yeah.
You know, we get on topic for this conversation, but shoot, why not? Let's see. Kyle Pitts
Targets.
targets. And then we gonna wrap this up. 2021 when he came in.
Yeah.
Just look up his stats. Look at his stats. Look at his stats.
Kyle Pitts is that.
This is what happens when people have podcasts. Nah, enjoy his targets.
I know it's on
Yeah,
ESPN.
there you go.
Well, you know what?
No. We don't finish this debate.
Oh, okay. We go finish this. Let's see where we at. The people are looking at us on our phones just to get this situated. I'm gonna go on Wikipedia like a real.
He had 110 targets his rookie year. He had 110 targets.
So 8 targets.
Then it went
So
to
8 targets. No, you
Then it went to 59. Then it went to
Oh,
90.
now you're going down. He
What
had Matt Ryan. He had 8 more targets with 2 shittier quarterbacks. He had Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, what do you mean? That's facts.
No, Brock Bowers had Desmond Ritter.
Actually, Brock Bowers had 153 targets.
God.
Yeah. So
153 targets.
we can end that.
Okay.
He had 153 targets.
I feel like y'all both had compelling arguments, but with that being said, man, hey, we appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode of the Bird's Eye View. Again, I'm your host, JB. These are my friends, Quay and Rick. Please tap into the social list at the bottom of the screen, and we will see you next week with another episode of the podcast.
Kyle Pitts, me and you against the world, my boy.
Kyle Pitts is you and Quay against the world.
Yes,
but hey, we got money on you. $100 against 100 yards against the Miami Dolphins. So
That's easy.
may the force be with you.